Elevate and Cyclone right now are tied for number 1. We're going to break that tie. My name's Tom, and that guy is Graham.
I am. Hi.
I get so excited when we get to call these games together. It's like
we got a good game too, to be fair. It's Elevate and Cyclone, which are two of the old boys from the SPL last split coming up against each other again. And this time, it's even more important.
Exactly. They're defending against... They're trying to keep their SPL spot away from everybody else. And as we said, they're tied right now. Both of them have 3. We're trying to really break that, and the winner here moves forward, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, first of three games is going to put you in a good spot. If you win 3, 4 is definitely the magic number to qualify you automatically. Otherwise, you're going to have to potentially end up looking for results elsewhere.
Eesh. Certainly not where these teams want to look. Because CycloneGG looked pretty strong, as we mentioned. They have a different coach. They walked away from the very successful Hazer, and right now they have somebody named Alpha Jackal. I think he's going to be coaching. Cyclone, the other side, Elevate. However, their new lineup. How are you feeling about this new lineup?
It's not that much of new, though, really, is it? It's still the Bruise Brothers in the duo lane of Dardez and Jermain together. MoGoW still in the solo lane doing MoGoW things, and then Faeles has come back onto this roster again with Blizzard in the mid lane now. So adjustments in the mid and the jungle position, which is what Elevate and the Myrmidons and everything Dardez and Jermain have been on, has changed throughout the past year and a half. So same old, same old.
You know, it's interesting because Blizzard versus Nulissa. Now I haven't seen as much Blizzard as I have seen Nulissa, but I do wind up missing that she was very strong in the mid lane. So I missed the Nulissa, but I don't miss the Jiffy. Faeles has been fantastic.
Synergy based, that's what it's about, really. It's just seeing how the synergy works out. Blizzard and Faeles, after that first game we saw earlier on today, they look pretty solid together. Obviously, the practice has been there. It needs to continue to develop.
I don't even care about Blizzard. Faeles put on the performance of almost his career.
He had a solid performance, but to be fair, he's always been there, but he's never really shown that. The teams behind the scenes have all said he's got the ability to do that, but he's got to make it consistent in the pro league.
And this is the first time we actually see it on the big stage. I think Relegations is the big stage. A lot of people might say, well, you're not in the SPL yet. This is as big as it could get because you're fighting for that chance to be on the big stage. Picks and bans coming to you in a moment. CycloneGG versus Elevate. We'll take a look as Elevate has the first pick on the left-hand side, immediately getting rid of Cabrakan.
All right, so there's 3 support picks that are overall top picks, top bans. You got Ymir, you got Sylvanus, you got Capri. Wave clear, Uber, super, duper important. On top of that, you can run the Nike, which we saw earlier on today, get run as well. I know I said Uber.
Uber?
Let it go. Let it go. It's first game. Leave it alone. But it's all about wave clear in the early game is very, very important for the most part. We've seen Hercules being picked quite a lot as well. He can transition to the support role if need be, but very dominant in the solo lane right now as well.
Aphrodite's going to be banned. If you saw the first Cyclone game, you know that Wlfy piloted that character well, much to our Challenger Cup caster, D-Sings. He was pretty happy about that one. But we got a Thoth guy. This is the first time we're going to see Thoth today. This is an interesting character because he is so powerful, but rarely do we actually get to see that power.
See, the power is the key, because obviously he got added, a stun was added to his kit. Clearly, people thought he was struggling overall there, but a stun was added to his kit, which makes him even stronger, especially because it penetrates through multiple targets as well. For the most part, he's very safe from range, but you've got to get in close to him. And what I do like from Cyclone here, even though they gave up Thoth, which I think is very, very silly, the picks of Cabrakan and Ratatoskr in response are very, very good at getting to Thoth on the back lines.
Well, so if you're going to give up Thoth, you're going to give Thoth to a character, to a player like Blizzard, or at least a question mark, right?
Yep.
Blizzard might be the best mid in the world, and
essentially,
you know, we don't know yet. So we're going to see. Test him. Give him the Thoth and see what happens. I think one of the dangerous situations about this, though, to Graham, it's a single game.
It is a single game, and you can't really make a mistake in a single game. And what you can see now is, with how picks and bans have gone, you've given Elevate Thoth, Sylvanus, and Hercules. Now, we've mentioned Hercules already. He's been played in every game so far. I predicted he was going to see much more going forward as well. Obviously, the heal changes to mitigate wounds. That made a big impact on him as well, just because the heal is a little bit more consistent, now has protections as well, and Shield of Regrowth.
That's where I was going to go. It just shakes hands with Shield of Regrowth. His item was already incredible, and now it's upgraded from 10 to 20% CDR here in Season 4. So Hercules is just... I'm very happy. I think he's a strong god, and he's going to be back here. Thoth, Herc, Sylvanus, starting off Elevate. They probably need a jungler, and they probably need a hunter. CycloneGG on the other side. Cabrakan, Ratatoskr, Ra, also looking for a hunter, and likely a support support, although Cabrakan has been exciting in that dual lane lately.
He has been exciting in dual lane. He's got decent push overall. I think if you see Ymir, Khepri, and Sylvanus not available, Cabrakan's definitely one of the next Guardians to look at going to. Decent wave clear overall. Chance to close the gap. Obviously, Tremors slow things down a little bit as well.
Last man is the Fafnir. Now, this is interesting. I was surprised to see the Fafnir in the last game, but I got it because I understood because of the composition. I'm even more surprised to see it banned here.
Level 1 wave clear once again from him, though, isn't as lackluster as people may think. I think Cabrakan's more than likely going to be solo lane here, by what Elevate seem to think as well, with banning the Fafnir here, more than likely. And that Fafnir, his level 1 with the hammer, it does do decent wave clear, but it is blockable, is the big key there. So if they don't play it well, it can cause problems.
Fenrir, the big dog, is going to be on Elevate, likely to be the jungler, joining Sylvanus, Hercules, and Thoth. One more selection for Elevate before we move on to the other team. And it'll be the Apollo. This guy is, well, he's got a global ultimate, he's got good clear, he's got a fantastic passive.
I'm really surprised by the fact that we see Apollo going to Elevate when CycloneGG had their opportunity to take Apollo themselves over the Rama. Apollo's been seen as a, he's a powerhouse now all of a sudden. Crit items, obviously his passive of Audacity, allowed him to get extra wave clear off in the early game as well. It's so beautiful now doing a little bit more damage.
So you mentioned a whole bunch of other supports before, Sylvanus, Khepri, etc. Sobek is still here. Talk to me about Sobek.
Sobek is there for the setup and initiation and peel more often than not, and that's what you kind of look for the most part. You can see Cabrakan and Ratatoskr can both go very deep. Sobek can also go deep as well and bring somebody out of that fight into a dangerous spot.
So before we get in, do you think it's a Sobek solo, Cabrakan support?
More than likely Cabrakan solo, I say, against Hercules here, but they could go with, more than likely. I was like, Sobek could have gone in the solo lane against Hercules. It would have been a fine matchup for the most part. It's just farm off more than anything else. So.
I actually would have preferred the Sobek in the solo lane.
Really?
But, yeah, one, I think he works well against the Hercules because of the anti-heal that he has on Sickening Strike. But Deathwalker plays a fantastic Cabrakan, and that's really when you have to get off of the paperwork, and you got to look at what your actual team has.
Now, start the game here. You can see Callus on the right, on the bottom of your screen. Horrific emblem start on the relic, one of the newer relics added to the game this season. Now, this is kind of a bit of a cross of what Weaken and Curse used to be from last split, but it's just attack speed reduction and movement speed combined in one. That's very effective against in-handers, which is the duo lane of Dardez and Jermain here. Sylvanus is known for his duo lane capabilities of wave clear in the early game, and reducing those in-hand attack speed can be a little bit beneficial. It won't be the only reason they've drafted this, but take into account Horrific Emblem is something we could see a lot against a lot of auto-attack focused compositions.
You know, it's actually interesting. I like that you gave us the whole definition of it, but at the end of the day, make him go slow. Sobek is going to flip you behind him and then drop that Horrific Emblem, and all of a sudden you just cannot get out of there. So you're going to see Sobek buy that emblem a lot.
Well, one thing you're going to see a lot is this sort of play here, looking to steal away the purple buff, at least the mini creeps to begin with. Trying to commit for the whole buff can put you in trouble, and that's what Jermain's just found out now.
The beads are chased out, Jermain's in trouble, Wlfy shows up, fling! And Votes land a couple of basics, one more will do it, and iceicebaby, welcome back! First blood for the jungler. If you were with us earlier, Cyclone were playing with a jungler named All Hail Muppets. Faeles. On the other side, dealing damage to the solo laner. Deathwalker also gonna find a hot death, and Faeles continuing his reign of terror. It's 1-1.
Faeles did great work there because of his dual lane, making such an easy rookie mistake right now in the start of the new season. When you go for that purple buff after the first wave, you cannot clear it successfully alone. They also didn't have vision on where iceicebaby was, and still go for that buff. They could have taken the little creeps, backed away, had control, and instead they gave up first blood. But Faeles, on the right, made sure he answered back, and now they're going to be able to steal away something on the right-hand side instead.
These early game starts for Season 4 is very interesting because it's so communication dominant. If you can't tell me where the jungler is, because I don't know, that's the thing. There are so many options that there's actually some uncertainty, so you need your communication to be on point.
Exactly, and by communication, it's like, where is Ratatoskr? Did we see where he started? Did he go to lane? No. Do we have a ward on the right-hand side of the map in speed to see if he started
here
there?
Again, showing up, Dardez gets stunned, Dardez gets flipped, he's gonna get tail whipped as well, and Vote NBK picks up another one.
Good work from iceicebaby there. You saw the fact that they invaded the purple buff on the left-hand side. That just gave him a lead anyway, and that put him in a very strong spot overall, so he continues the pressure. Now they can look for these oracles near the Gold Fury, something added in Season 4 now, very, very important.
And so as I was saying before about iceicebaby, he's not gonna be here for all of the games. I think it's gonna be an even split between him and All Hail Muppets. He's got got some things going on back at home base. So it's very important to have your team be a full unit. So we're actually going to see some play out of the support. And honestly, All Hell Muppets played the Hun Bats the other match and looked fine.
Solid enough, and that's the best thing here, is having a substitute that can plug and play is the big key overall. Having someone that can just step in and kind of fit to what your roster style is very, very important.
And what's neat is that it's sort of like playing with a donut. Obviously, All Hell Muppets is the substitute for a reason. So you're sitting there with a nice heavy bat, and then iceicebaby comes in, and this is your star jungler. All of a sudden, you take the donut off the bat, and now you're swinging for the fences. Cyclone are able to make these plays, and Iceice is starting off to a fantastic go.
Best thing about this set between these two, this best of one between Elevate and Cyclone, is they both had warm-up games.
Yeah.
On paper, they were against last-minute monsters and deserted in the first games, and on paper, they should have won those from the experience they've had in the Pro League previously. But now they've had that warm-up, they both step into this next game, and it's very important to get off to this 2-0 start to try and get yourself through into the Pro League.
So donut's a baseball term. You know what it is? It's the
I didn't
weight
know.
on the bat.
I was so confused of donut. I'm like, why are we talking about donuts? Don't bring up food again after.
The face that Hindu made was really funny. But, I mean, hey, Hercules, he's rocking the skin. So we're going to see 3:51 on the clock at the moment. Nothing too interesting going on here. Both teams, after a fantastic start, are trying to find their footing. And that's really what we're going to be looking for the most part in these early games. Is trying to figure out where these teams find their next step.
For sure, the footing is the real key here between the two teams because of the fact of the early game is so up in the air right now. Where do you start? What's the correct start situation? What's the correct build situation for most of them too? Because we see a lot of interesting things from mid laners starting with bombers or maybe starting with extra regeneration. Do they still go for the Legion Helm for the extra protections? A lot of things up in the air of what the correct build is. So the early game is always going to be the focus at the start of a new season.
Brief little pause here. Elevate versus Cyclone. Just a little bit of a connection issue, so we're going to get back in there as soon as possible for one of these players. And really what it comes down to is this is one of these matchups where I think you looked at the previous matches and you could kind of find the top card and the bottom card.
Yeah.
I think Novus Orsa kind of surprised people, the fact that they were the bottom card. But here, I think this is a nice, even game.
For sure, it definitely is. I mean, it showed that during the Pro League. These guys kind of battled back and forth throughout the year, and even towards the Super Regional stages and the likes. You saw how close these two teams really were with how they performed up against other opposition.
Yeah, so it should be very interesting going forward as we get back into game. Right into the middle lane, BlizzardFX just making it rain with that Thoth guy stuff.
Surprised as well to see him go for the Vampiric Shroud. A lot of them are going for that the Sands timer more often than not here because the Sands gives you that cooldown reduction, the mana regeneration. Now, Vampiric Shroud, yeah, it gives you some more health. Yeah, it gives you some sustain off killing those creeps, but you'd like to see the cooldown and mana regen a little bit more prominent because mana regeneration is so important to the mid laners.
So both hunters going for those that star build that we were talking about so much. This is one of the bigger changes. It's interesting because a lot of times I'm going to stay away from some of the individual items because it's just, you know, maybe a different take. But this is such a mindset change for the hunters as the Gold Fury started by CycloneGG. Kalis is here to zone out Jermain, and it's already halfway down. Gold Fury even below it. Ultimates come out. And Cyclone are able to take out the Gold Fury very
Beautiful
clean.
play from Kalis overall there with his positioning just away to the left, keeping an eye on a rotation potentially coming in. That's the angle that they can see clearly to the Gold Fury. Straight down this path here through to the Gold Fury. Very, very key to make sure that one is cleared at all times. And Thoth, to an extent, obviously he's got that massive ultimate that can get across a long range, but it does take a bit of a wind-up to deal more damage with.
Exactly, and you're going to hear it, you're going to be aware of it. Deathwalker barely getting out of there. MoGoW not giving the chase.
But going back to what you were saying about the crit item starts coming out the Shuriken tree on the Hunters, pretty much standard now. We've seen a lot of these Poison Star, Wind Demon starts overall. I predict after the next patch, which is during this week, we're going to see less of that.
Even still, it's a complete mindset change here, is because you're forgoing some damage for utility, which is something strange.
Beats traded there with the Ragnarok of Faeles as well as he was looking to invade and steal away the blue, which was successful. But now Iceice going to the sky, knowing MoGoW's leap is down as well to get Dash away, but instead he went aggressive onto Faeles, who walked away.
Iceice is always going to be the aggressive player. I like him on Cyclone. I think that aggressive nature of the jungler helps Cyclone keep the pace up. Sometimes you can see Wlfy and Kalis kind of get into a lull of they're just used to it. They're fine keeping it going. CycloneGG need Ice and Vote to really keep the pace going.
Really good work. Just control the middle part of the map. It's very, very important. We've seen this in previous seasons too, but the middle part of the map is where all the contested experience is overall. The Elementals on the right-hand side with the bigger one now, a little bit more experience there. And obviously mid-Harpies and the Oracles on the other side. You've got to make sure you control this area. You start to lose domination on that side, that's when you're going to fall behind, even if you don't lose fights overall.
Yeah, it really comes down to not just the map vision, but the map presence, as you said. There's a lot of experience in the jungle, but if you get it all taken away by the enemy team, that's not going to be the case. Just shy of 7 minutes here as Jermain hits level 8. His opponent level 9, and the stars coming out pretty much for both hunters. Nothing too out of the ordinary there.
Not right now, that's for sure. I mean, the big key from how this game started is Elevate put themselves in a bad situation in duo lane. The invade on purple buff cost him Jermain's life, and now Jermain's at a level deficit, about 11.5 realistically, up against Vote in this right-hand side. And that's going to allow Vote to just get his items on a little bit earlier, which slows down Apollo doing anything.
Deathwalker is going to be the target. Picked up, and a little bit of help. Dardez coming around from the backside should help. And also the mid laner, but Deathwalker is fine.
Ice is in the sky, though, thinking about going in, I think, right now, but I don't think he likes his options.
Yeah.
Will just end up falling back as well. The rotation from Cyclone was very late there, but it was good work from Deathwalker and just surviving the engagement and just weathering the storm.
Well, Elevate missed everything.
But you got to give credit sometimes and then try and overlook. Let's have a season, Tom. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, you know? Let's say it was Deathwalker that made those plays.
So I was actually going to bring that up intentionally. The fact that Hercules for a long time now, we recently... his heal has been changed, and that's a big part of why he's applicable here in the current meta situation. But Hercules has always been a fair to decent, dare I say, good character. The problem is that ability right there. Earthbreaker has been, I believe the euphemism is inconsistent. It's hard to hit.
It's
and
difficult to
MoGoW
hit.
hasn't hit them yet.
It is difficult to hit the Earthbreaker, but not only that, Hercules' wave clear requires him to use both abilities, the Earthbreaker and the Driving Strike, which makes him very difficult in lane to also put poke on unless the enemy laner is in that wave at the same time. That's one of the reasons you didn't see Herc for a while, is because he was so focused on dealing damage in the lane as well as clearing the wave. That's why Erlang Shen's pin, as an example, could do both those things from just one ability.
Exactly. So having your abilities locked down is tough. But yeah, because that Earthbreaker is so hard to confirm the crowd control on, he has sort of been shied away from. But we saw Zashu, or the big SB, play the Hercules, looked fantastic. We saw some other players play Hercules, looked fantastic. MoGoW, not as fantastic on him just yet.
Not so far, but I mean 0-0-1, you can't talk too much away from it.
Oh,
and MoGoW's Hercules is very strong. It's something that he's always been a go-to for him as well. Just alongside the Odin, the Hades, and the Ra has been his big picks. For MoGoW's whole career of playing the game, pretty much, Hercules is definitely one of those Diamond 10 gods of his that he's not going to be upset about playing. And I know a lot of Europeans do like Hercules when he's available in meta. And now that he's meta, we could also start to see, which I mentioned about the support transition, the likes of people like Trixtank, who love to run the aggressive warrior supports. We could see Hercules rise there too.
Herc is just such a devastating character. Kalis is going to get pulled, but Ice finds his way on the backside. Nice little knockup coming out of Dardez. Not going to be enough. Gets the pluck. Kalis serves up, fails, but he's able to jump away. Ultimate tease not used just yet. Deathwalker makes the rotation for the solo lane, but that be that.
Love the call from that, Tom, as well. The tease is definitely the key with that ultimate from Thoth. The final judgment, so very, very useful in terms of damage, but also just a deterrent, because when you hear it being wound up, you've got to respect where he is and how much damage it's going to do.
And I hate the name because it's Final Judgment, but it's never final. You hear it the whole game.
It might be Judgment.
You hear it the whole game.
It might be Judgment is what it should be called overall. But he did go for the Doom Orb as well. Now, as mentioned about how important Mana Sustain for mid laners is at this stage, at the early on season meta, and that Mana Sustain from Doom Orb is going to be very useful, as well as the damage that you get from the Doom Orb in the early game. His Final Judgments will be swinging a little bit harder than Cyclone may expect, but they've got to play around that.
I like the Doom Orb selection here. I think that there are characters in the mid lane that are pure utility. There are characters that offer a little bit of both. Thoth, all he does is shoot you in the face.
Look at this teleport star on the right-hand side here. They're looking to try and kill the imp on the right-hand side here, Cyclone. No real response from Elevate just yet, but the Wlfy was looked at for a moment in response from Elevate.
What an odd decision to go for that portal guy.
Why odd? Why do you feel odd?
It just seems, I feel like right now the Gold Fury is a much bigger objective right now. And by committing to the Portal Demon this early on, Elevate get the Gold Fury for free.
Agreed, they get the Gold Fury for free. Now, the one thing about the Teleport Demon on the right-hand side is that teams will overlook that because they're always remembering Gold Fury. 3 years of playing with just Gold Fury as the focus in the early game. Very simple to fall into that trap of Gold Fury, Gold Fury, Gold Fury, and not keep an eye on the Teleport Demon, which also gives golden experience.
Not as much as the Gold Fury.
Not as much, but it's something that could be available to them if teams don't check it wisely on that right-hand side.
And my thing with my I guess problem, just my curiosity is probably the better term, with the Portal Demon attempt right there is, it's 11 minutes. You're not going to TP in and surprise Fire Giant.
But it's free experience in gold. It's not necessarily about actually using the teleport to get back to lane and pressure the map. It's more for free golden experience that is uncontested.
Just another objective.
Just another objective at this stage. It will develop more as time goes on. If there was a monumental lead now, that could result in a Fire Giant, because Fire Giant is available at the 10-minute mark as well.
All I know is CycloneGG was leading by about 2,000 gold, maybe 1,500, and now they're not.
I made a mistake. And this is what the Season 4 start will be, is which teams make mistakes that get punished heavier overall. Start the game, Elevate, invade the purple buff, they get punished and fall behind based off that. But now Cyclone slip up a little bit, looking for the teleporter, and end up losing a gold, evens things out.
And they didn't just slip up by looking for the wrong objective, in my eyes, as they're starting the Oracles. They also slipped up by letting the pace slow down. Elevate, they've got that late game BlizzardFX on the Thoth guy. They're waiting. They're sitting there and they're saying, hey, look, let me just farm.
Rat in the sky, 1 second. Jermain's in trouble.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he dashed away though, and across the sky comes to the rescue. But now, the tower's going to get pressured here for free.
Yeah, Cyclone probably going to pick up this tower. Pretty much no contest. Tier 1 tower going down in 13 minutes. And Elevate want to wait to the late game. Cyclone absolutely don't, which is why this play is so important. Ultimate out of the rod, not going to do much, but the follow-up certainly will. Wlfy gets a kill right after his solo laner, and MoGoW takes down Wlfy right after the fact.
But I don't care if I'm Cyclone now, because we just killed... I mean, Cyclone lost Ra, they might lose Cabrakan, but they get 2 towers on the left, and they stole away the teleporter on the right. Thanks very much, Elevate. We'll take that fight every time.
Phoenix! MoGoW's the only one that's there to protect, and meanwhile, Jermain gonna get beat up in the mid lane. iceicebaby and Vote know that it's only 13.
He's got no ult in the mid lane either, so he's going to fall down there as well. Jermain falls to Callus, who did a very good job of just slowing down and reducing how quickly he could clear that and get out. Another kill, the way of Cyclone.
Sobek wreck. That's my commentary.
Okay.
That's my whole commentary.
Presto, GG.
Sobek wreck.
But this, again, is a tale of stories and mistakes made by teams. Elevate look to try and fight at that teleporter on the right side and steal that instead of losing the tier after losing the tier 1 tower. Instead, they lose tier 2, the teleporter, and now they're on the defensive because the whole team of Cyclone's back.
And Cyclone, in that small little sequence, were able to make a big enough impact to make the Portal Demon actually relevant. Here, the mid lane tower is going to go down. And basically, the fact is, either you're going to use that portal. Ooh, no pull right there. Iceice still looking for the tower. Good zoning coming out from the rest of the team. Big kick coming out of MoGoW, but it's just not enough. Pushes them under tower Hindu, but wow.
Well, Ra is there. Yeah, the sustain in combat is still pretty decent, as well as the protections is the key over there. Another tower shredded for free, as well as the speed buff and the red buff. Just Elevate are losing everywhere on the map now based off the decisions that have been caused in the first 14 minutes.
So going back to the Portal Demon, you're either going to use that to clean up and then go right to the Fire Giant, which at 11 minutes is too soon. Or you're going to use that as a re-engage tool to come back to the fight, similar to the way a solo laner or an Athena player would. Just re-engage. And right when Cyclone were going for the portal guy the first time, it was a little bit too soon. But the very next team fight, they have a couple more levels on them. All of a sudden, the Portal Demon goes down. Cyclone re-engage after taking a couple of structures. Now, there's only 2 towers left on the map.
I mean, we got Dardez split pushing mid lane on his own as a Sylvanus. I mean, I understand Jermain being in this lane. Jermain's build is a little bit suspect based on the state of the game. He's gone for Devour's Gauntlets very late, and he's not going to get the stacks on in time to really make an impact when you've got no towers left.
As soon as you say that, he gets 6 stacks on it.
Yeah, because it's like one way, but if you think about it, it's a 75 stack item that you're going to need to get 6, get 6, get 6. It's a very late time to do this. I kind of understand why everyone loves the crit idea. That's why
I completely agree.
Vote here, not going for Devour's Gauntlets, no sustain in the build, but he's gone for the double crit, which kind of makes more sense.
So Elevate, Elevate right here, we see the cooldown reduction on the Shield of Regrowth on the Sylvanus. How do you feel?
Shield of Regrowth and Sylvanus, yeah, extra mobility, cooldown reduction as well, allowing you to ult like that.
iceicebaby gets the kill. Vote, try to find an exit. Jermain and Dardez get him. Not enough. There's the ultimate out of the Ratatoskr. Deathwalker picks up 2. Double kill for the solo laner. He's 311.
And that's Fire Giant for 3 now, because there's only Thoth left and Sylvanus. Sylvanus ult down. Thoth ult down as well. 3 Fire Giant for CycloneGG. No teleport to come back in afterwards though. But when you look at it, they can go back to base off this fire, which they're taking a long time to do, to be fair. They're really worried about getting engaged on potentially, is why they're slowing down on the damage. And as well as Vote MBK being dead as well.
Yeah, Wlfy's going to drop the heal. That'll help out just a little bit. But like nobody from Elevate anywhere local.
There you go, they couldn't do anything about it. It was going to be a slow clear for CycloneGG, but they're not going to be upset by how long it took.
Yeah.
Just because they've already taken all the tier 2 towers apart from the one in mid lane. So when you get the Fire Giant, where are you going to go? One place to go. Just straight down mid, take the final tier 2, and then you can look at Phoenixes on top of that.
CycloneGG getting the better hand this time around. 8-3 read the kills as we're 3 minutes shy at 20. And Cyclone wind up leading by about 7,000 gold. A lot of good decision-making as far as the objectives have been concerned on the side of CycloneGG. And despite a couple of missteps along the way, Elevate haven't really been able to take advantage.
The only way Elevate got back into this early stage was the Goal Fury that they called when they saw the enemy team doing the Demon Teleporter. That was the key to having a chance in this game, evening things up. But since then, the decision-making's been off more often than on for Elevate, and that's allowed Cyclone just to continue to pressure now. They've got 1 tier 2 remaining. Elevate could look to defend this. I'd rather them just fall back to Phoenixes here. If they take a fight here and lose it, the game's done.
Absolutely, and with the Fire Giant, yeah, you see the smart play coming out of Elevate, falling back onto the Phoenix. iceicebaby with the satellite ult, just jumping in the sky, making sure the enemy doesn't come through.
Definitely the radar ultimate there. Just keep an eye on the situation. Anyone who wants to walk forward, you can engage for them and look for the backline immediately, and they have to show respect. It's the same thing Thor does for the most part. Same with Apollo to an extent as well. You just got to be very mindful of that global ultimate.
Yeah, it's also a guard dog, because you clearly see the Ratatoskr sitting there in the sky, and he's just saying, do it. Just do it. I will jump on you, bounce you up. Portal Demon goes down.
I love the call as well. Just take the tower, take the demon, go back to base, buy a couple more items, then go through the portal again, and then start to look one more time to siege up. It's
just a re-engage tool. That's what the Portal Demon will really allow these teams to do. As you see the Season 4 continue on, I think what you're going to see is, more often than not, the teams in the lead will use the Portal Demon to allow them to siege quicker and more efficiently.
However, they've got to be very aware of that. Teams on the aggressive have to be careful that that portal doesn't get taken by the team on the defense. Because if it does, it is a flanking maneuver that the enemy team could use against them and pinch them into awkward spots. You've got to keep an eye on it, keep it warded as the game goes on. From around 15 minutes onwards, that needs to have a permanent ward there, just like the Fire Giant does in normal play from Season 3 before.
4 players on the right side in Cyclone jerseys. iceicebaby by himself in the mid lane, defended by 1. Defended by 3, finds the mismatch, and MoGoW just gets blown up. He's going to fall down in the hand of Deathwalker. Continuing on the power play as CycloneGG fails into the ultimate. Not enough. Still continuing. No damage on the Phoenix.
And now with the Phoenix on the right side being focused down by 3 members, 2 more going to join them up. The boys of Elevate forced back to safety of their fountain, means the second Phoenix in the mid lane is now going to fall too. Cyclone gets another pluck thanks to Callison to Jermain, and another man bites the dust.
Served him up and placed him down. iceicebaby gets involved as well. 3-0-5 for the jungler stepping in right now, and the Titan will fall. Under 20 minutes. CycloneGG take the victory above Elevate and make it look easy.
And by easy, it was more just capitalizing the mistakes that Elevate made straight from the get-go. Elevate had lane pressure in the duo lane. They went for the purple buff, got picked, that starts things off. Then, later on in the game, they make more mistakes by leaving the portal exposed. So they lose a tier 1 tower and trade for the demon portal. Don't get the demon portal. Don't get the tier 1 tower, because that goes down, and the tier 2. And from that point, it's like, well, what do we do now?
I don't know. That's the problem, and neither did Elevate. Cyclone came out looking like Cyclone is looking like a better team than they did in the SPL, and Elevate kind of look like they're a little lost.
Well, let's be honest. Cyclone are an unchanged roster. That roster overall, yeah, they're using a sub now and again for some of these games, but the roster came to Super Regionals together. And when you come to regionals and the likes as a team, you get a bit more of a bond with the players you're playing with. And if you all agree with each other and you all get along, it just strengthens the things for when you get into the Pro League once more.
So Cyclone take that game above Elevate. And as we move on to the next one, Novus Orsa versus Last Minute Monsters. And that'll change the way that everything's looking right now. CycloneGG sitting pretty on top with 6 points, separating from the crowd. Elevate and New Game Plus are going to be tied up for second with 3 points each. LMM Deserted and Novus Orsa, well, they got to find a win sometime. Now, and this next match is going to be it.
The big key here for Cyclone as well is like 3 wins is pretty much putting you, solidifying your spot to having a really good shot at getting there. 3 is like minimum you need. 3 minimum, and then you may need 4, but it's at least 3 every single time. So Cyclone having a 2-0 in 2 games, that's big when they've still got more to play. Yeah,
I think the future bodes well for CycloneGG. And as we said, some of these teams need to find their first win, and this is going to be an important one. Novus Orsa versus Last Minute Monsters. So Novus Orsa had some interesting picks last time around. We saw the Amusing Cobb come out amid Artemis. I kind of got what they were going for. But what exactly do you think was the mentality behind the AMC specifically?
I'm just not so sure about the AMC putting him in a 2v1 at the start. Do you hit yourself?
I poked myself with the pen.
That's why we don't give him sharp objects, just in case. But the big key with the AMC pick there, they put him in a 2v1 right at the start because we saw Frezzy go mid lane. AMC in a 2v1 at the start of the game isn't the greatest thing in the world to deal with, especially when it's against a Ymir in lane, someone that can really shut you down and reduce mobility at the start of the game. It was risky. It didn't pay off either. If they would have gone for another Hunter in that lane, it would have been a similar case, but they would have had more survivability there. I don't think it was down to the AMC pick why they lost, though.